Hey, friends, welcome to episode 11 of Rethinking Grading, where I am happy to share the results of the survey that we sent out in the fall of 2023. Just a little bit of background information. We gave out one version of the survey in June of this past year, and we just recently gave out a survey here in October. And again, if you go to the website, you're able to use the PowerPoint, the slide decks that will allow you to click on these links if you want to dig into those a little bit more detail. We gave those out the first 2 weeks of June, last 2 weeks of October. And again, this went out to students, staff, parents, caregivers, other members of the community. We did this through email, social media, Parents Association, math classes in June, social studies classes in October. And we did send this out in English, Portuguese, and Spanish. And the idea is just to get a sense of how we're feeling, right? The June survey was about a baseline, how people were feeling prior to implementing. October is about where we're at just in the beginning stages, the very early stages of implementing the new grading system. Now, in terms of the respondent information, it's very similar from June to October, as you can see here, just about 30 fewer respondents, but again, 438 total respondents is a really good number. The vast majority, of course, coming from students. Now, just a quick review, qualitative data, these are just the words, right? And those resulted in individual responses, which again, if you go to the Rethinking Grading website, you'll be able to access the links for these documents. I compiled all the information. I read everything from parents and caregivers, from staff, and from students. So those comments are available. And again, these are just the ones from the October 23 that are available for this. And I do want to take a moment to thank everybody for your comments. I did read them all, and thank you for that. The other aspect of doing the surveys, we get quantitative data, right? And these are the numbers. And this is what resulted in the graphics that I'm going to show over the following slides. So without any further ado, I'm going to start off first focusing on parents and caregivers and their overall opinions. You can see here for the question that was asked is how you feel about the new grading system. And in the blue, you see what the responses were back in June. The red are the responses from October. Okay, just to give a sense of how things have changed over time. And generally what's happened is 54.6% of the parents and caregivers who responded felt somewhat or very concerned in June. That's now up to 70.5% for October. The neutral, somewhat positive, or very positive then went from 45.4% to 29.5%. The biggest jump, as you can see, was in people who are feeling very concerned, followed by a small jump in parents, caregivers who feel very positive. As far as which one was the most concerning, clearly the new grade scale is far and away, has been and continues to be the most concerning change for this new grading system. As far as the most positive, it is the revisions. That's the one, I'm sorry, excuse me. It's in the no preference in terms of what feels the most positive. The aspect of late work is the one that had the biggest decrease from June to October. Switching gears to look at staff in terms of overall feeling, folks back in June, it was initially 47.8% were concerned to some extent. That's now down to 41.2%. For folks who are feeling neutral, somewhat positive, or very positive, that went from 52.2% in June to 58.8% here in October. The biggest jump that we've seen is in teachers feeling very positive, followed by a small jump in teachers especially, feeling somewhat positive about that. As far as the most concerning, that does have to do with, as you can see here, the biggest jump being in revisions, but the biggest concern overall still being the grade scale. As far as the most positive one, as you can see here, big jump in terms of the standards based, the fact that that how we're tagging standards and grades are connected to skills. That's been seen as the most positive by the staff members who responded. In terms of students overall, there was an increase for students feeling concerned. It went from 43.4% to 55.7. As far as those who were neutral or feeling positive, it went from 56.6 to 44.3%. The biggest jump is in those who are feeling very concerned, followed by a small jump in folks who are feeling somewhat positive. As far as the most concerning, the grade scale, no surprise there. That's been consistent through all different groups. As far as the most positive change, the biggest jump has been in terms of late work. And again, this is the idea that there is still late penalties, but they're applied to work habits rather than to a specific skill or standard. Overall, then, folks, if we combine all of these responses, this gives you a sense of where folks are at for the overall feeling. And at this point, overall, we're looking at 58.0% of folks are expressing or would identify themselves as feeling concerned. On the flip side, 42% are feeling either neutral or somewhat positive about this new grading system. The most concerning, to no surprise, is the new grade scale. The most positive, there's a lot of differences here, but the biggest jump has been in the view of late work, the smaller jump in terms of the revision policy. So that takes us to our big takeaways, folks. And again, as I just mentioned, 58% of respondents feel somewhat to very concerned about the new grading practices. That means that 42% feel neutral or positive about this new system that we've implemented. The source of greatest concern is the new grade scale, and there is already a plan in place for ways to make small adjustments to that. And this is due in large part to the feedback that came back from the survey, from conversations I've had with students and teachers and parents and caregivers as well. And then again, this same survey will be sent out in January, maybe early February, and at least one other time in this school year. The whole idea being is we want to check in, get a sense of how people are feeling, so that we can respond appropriately. So thanks for the time, folks. I appreciate you viewing this. And if you do have any questions, please do reach out through email, give me a call, or of course, there's the Rethinking Grading website. Thanks again for your time, for your thoughts, and for your concerns, and have a great day.